Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Etienne, and today I'm back with a brand new video talking about that man yet again, Drizzy Drake, and how I think I've managed to work out the exact release date for his highly anticipated studio album, Certified Lover Boy. On Friday the 5th of March, we finally saw Drake return, and he certainly came back with a bang with the release of Scary Hours 2. Now this is the first official drop we've got from Drake since Laugh Now Cry Later back in August. And in general, this is the first we've heard from him since he officially announced that CLB was being delayed back in January. Now if you saw my CLB preview video, you'll know that I actually called this and outlined the number of reasons as to why we wouldn't be getting Drake's album back in January, before he then announced it himself. If you haven't seen that video already, I highly recommend that you check it out, and I'll leave the link in the description down below. Now on Twitter recently as well, I also called that he'd be dropping new music on that first Friday in March, which was proved to be exactly bang on, with the release of Scary Hours 2 coming that day. So you could say, in terms of Drake and CLB news, I'm 2 for 2 right now. Now make sure you stick around till the end of this video, where I'll be revealing my exact release date for CLB, and why I think that will mean I'm 3 out of 3 when it comes to Drake predictions, and surely making me a certified OVO mole. But before going into the album release date, I wanted to give my overall thoughts on the recent 3-pack. Now starting off with the first track, What's Next, that definitely gave me a retro games console vibe to that beat, maybe something we'd normally associate with Playboi Carti, and not something that Drake would stereotypically get on. Now I think we can already tell from the 3 tracks released, this is destined to be the radio smash. Now while recording this, it looks set to debut at number 1 on Billboard's Hot 100. Now this track to me came across as very much having a triumphant tone to it, very much similar to Laugh Now Cry Later in that aspect. And perhaps that's going to be a consistent theme throughout Certified Lover Boy. Now in comparison to Scary Hours 1, this track definitely feels like the God's Plan equivalent. Interestingly though, both God's Plan and What's Next were actually leaked prior to their official release. Now within the last year or so, there's been a lot of Drake leaks, but I was very much under the impression that this was a strategical move from the OVO camp themselves. However, when it comes to this song, I really do think it's leaked, and it wasn't part of a strategic plan. And this is down to Theo Scudra's Instagram caption, who by the way, if you don't know, is Drake's cameraman. Now in this caption, he alludes to the team having to pull off a 1-week turnaround when producing this video, with the week before being when the song originally leaked on Twitter. Having to rush out a video in a week doesn't exactly scream pre-planned to me, and this has got me thinking, perhaps a lot of the leaks we've received over the last year haven't actually come strategically from the OVO camp and have in fact actually leaked. And perhaps this is even a secret reason as to why CLB keeps having to be delayed. With more and more leaks coming out by the week, this could be forcing Drake back into the studio to make new songs, constantly having to update the album even if it was previously finished. Now after giving all of these songs plenty of time and plays, the second track, Wants and Needs, is definitely my favourite of the 3, and for me, the most likely to end up being on the final CLB track list. Now I think for anyone in hip hop these days, getting Lil Baby on one of your tracks has to be considered as a big feature, even for someone the size of Drake. And for me, both Drake and Lil Baby really delivered on this track, and showed that they complement each other really well. As well as the first track, What's Next, looking to debut at number 1 on Billboard, it also looks like Wants and Needs will be debuting at number 2, not that far behind. I certainly think Wants and Needs has the ability to go number 1 as well in time. Now Lil Baby and Drake were recently photographed together in the Bahamas, and I have a suspicion that they might well have already filmed the music video to this track together while they were out there, and that's definitely something we should all keep our eyes out for. And for me personally, Drake and Lil Baby's Wants and Needs is their best collab track to date, beating out the likes of Yes Indeed and Never Recover. We all know how big Yes Indeed got, and for me, I'm predicting similar or even bigger things for this track, and for that reason, I do hope and expect that this track will end up on Certified Lover Boy. Moving on to the third and final track, Lemon Pepper Freestyle, we get to see Drake in his Live Talk mode, which is very much tradition these days whenever we get a Drake pack. If we look at when we got Omerta from Drake's Best in the World pack after the Toronto Raptors became NBA champions, and even Diplomatic Immunity from Scary Hours 1, Drake always likes to remind us of his brilliant yet underrated pen. Speaking of Diplomatic Immunity, that still remains very much a true Drake fan's favourite. However, even with that, it didn't end up making the cut for Scorpion, and I expect similar to happen here in terms of the CLB tracklist. What this track has yet again proved though, is that Drake and Ross simply don't ever miss. These two have so many legendary and iconic collabs together, and many music fans will probably argue that Ross is Drake's best partner in crime. I absolutely love them as a combination, and in terms of my overall favourites between the two, it would have to be Lord Knows, Stay Schemin', and DJ Khaled's I'm On One. There has been recent talk of a potential Drake and Ross collab album coming out someday, as well as other names hinting at a potential collab project with Drake. But I think I'll save this topic for a future video, as I do believe this could be the route Drake goes down after CLB. If you want to hear me talk about different potential Drake collab projects coming out further down the line, make sure you let me know in the comments, and also subscribe so you don't miss it when it releases. Overall, this 3-pack has somehow managed to get me even more hyped and excited for the release of CLB. I was impressed with the amount of rapping we got on here from Drake, and I really hope that's a trend that's going to continue on into the CLB album. As for when I believe the album will be released, I'm really convinced at this point it's going to be Friday 30th of April. So make sure you all write that date in your calendars, everyone, because I've not been wrong so far, and I don't plan on being wrong here. I actually tweeted this theory back on February 23rd, and ever since then, I've not been able to get it out of my head. Now, DJ Akademiks is quietly proving himself to be quite a close and reliable source of late when it comes to Drake news and Certified Lover Boy updates. Now, I know this certainly hasn't always been the case, but right now, I really think Drake might be using Ak as an unofficial mouthpiece. When you look at it, after OBJ said that Certified Lover Boy was coming out on January 1st, it was in fact Akademiks who quickly shut that rumour down and said it was not dropping then. And then of course it was Akademiks again, who came out a few days before Scary Hours 2 was released and said that Drake would indeed be dropping new music on that Friday. Now, since Drake officially confirmed the postponement of his album in January, Akademiks has consistently claimed that Drake will not be waiting until this summer, but in fact will be dropping no later than April. And looking at Ak's recent record, I think we have to go with him on this one. When looking at Drake's release date history, I think it also lends itself to my theory of us getting this album on the 30th of April. His 2016 album Views will be turning 5 years old on April 29th, potentially, by my theory, just a day before he releases Certified Lover Boy. Now, I personally think that would be a really nice homage to that previous project. He certainly shouldn't have any concerns about dropping then and wondering if it still remains the sound of the summer later on. As we all know, Views and Summer 2016 was a match made in heaven. Even when looking at other previous Drake release dates, he clearly shows that he likes to drop towards the end of a month. More Life came out on March 18th, and most recently Scorpion came out on the 29th of June. So if it is indeed coming in April, when looking at his history, it's much more likely to come towards the back end of that month. Despite Drake saying the album is still being chefed, and that right now he has no exact date for its release, I think looking at all the points I've made, Friday, April 30th looks as good a bet as any other, and I'm more than confident to nail my colours to the mast and say that is when Certified Lover Boy will be dropping. I'm very keen to hear all of your thoughts and individual theories on when you think we might be getting the album, so make sure you let me know what you think in the comments below. I hope you've all really enjoyed watching this video. If you did, make sure you hit like on this video, and also while you're here, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss similar future content. But for now though, my name has been Etienne, and it's goodbye from me.